It's the people, the merchants, just the neighborhood is special. And if anyone moves here, they'll get it. And again, there's a lot of neighborhoods in San Francisco to choose from. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit more down to earth with a kind of an older feel, more traditional feel, but also making great progress with new businesses. This is a nice place to plant your flag.
Welcome to the Bay Insider with Amanda and Ying, where we talk about history, lifestyle, and real estate in the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome back to the Bay Insider. And today we're going to be talking about West Portal, which is very exciting for us because that is the home of our brokerage, Barbagelata Group, Barbco. I'm here with Ying and Paul Barbagelata. So a very special day to have kind of the, I guess you're not really the patriarch. It would be your father would be the patriarch, right?
Yes.
Because he started the business back in 1952, correct?
Right.
And you've been kind of running the show around here since you were, 21 years old?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it didn't start right as soon as I got my license. I had to go through the motions, but I actually was working for the family brokerage at 21, yes, in 1989.
That's incredibly young. So, yes.
Yeah.
That's all your life.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty much, yes.
That was only 5 years ago, right?
Right.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't really consider people adults until they're 25 years old. So it's pretty impressive. And I think, a lot of people know Paul from around the neighborhood. As a matter of fact, I was just at an open house that I had in Novato, and a couple came in, older couple, and the guy said he knew your father. And anyways.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to go back a long time.
Yeah.
So I probably the oldest family brokerage, I believe, right now, because so many of the others have been gobbled up or they're So I think we're kind of the last standing as far as the kind of the multi-generation family brokerages.
Yeah, I think it's a very special thing that we have going on here. We have about 30 agents, and it really is like an extended family, and that's kind of how we operate.
Yes.
And that's why I love working here. And we are very centrally located in West Portal at 45 West Portal. Beautiful office, these huge windows looking out on the street. Great gathering place. All kinds of great stuff happens here.
The storage rooms could use a little upgrade.
Storage room. We are.
If we're going to use it as a recording studio in the future.
We're getting some ideas to spruce it up for our next podcast.
Yeah. We're currently in the storage room, so still very nice. And we have a pretend view of the outdoors, so that's good. So we're going to talk about West Portal, which basically it's like a right triangle, the shape of it. On the north side, you share borders with Golden Gate Heights, Forest Hill Extension. On the west side, it borders Parkside, and then the Sunset District, that's kind of part of the Sunset District. And then the south and east border is Portola Street, which is kind of like a main artery that goes through. And then St. Francis Wood is right on the other side. And that's where you grew up, right? St.
Yes.
Francis Wood, kind of West Portal.
Literally a block and a half away from where we are now.
Exactly. And it's kind of like a land lost in time, although it has been modernizing recently. But I know, because I used to go to Lowell High School, and I'd come through here and I'd stop at Double Rainbow. And it was, a lot of the things are exactly the same as they were back then. But it's been kind of progressing recently and having more modernized businesses, but still keeping that character of like a moment in time, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's actually a mix of old and new, right? There are a lot of old businesses, but there are a lot of new ones. Like every week, I think there's a new thing opening up. Every month, maybe, not every week. But Atlanta's, that's one. And there's a Thai restaurant right around the corner.
Right.
Have you tried that?
I have. Yes.
How is it?
It was good. Really good.
On Portola.
I had my kids order.
Claremont.
Yeah, around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids ordered some really interesting. It's different. It's not your typical Thai restaurant. They have a lot of kind of unique dishes, so it's nice. And there's a line out the door before they open. So
is that the one place that's up a little bit further past Uloa?
Yeah, it's right where
it used to be
It was a Thai restaurant before.
Okay.
Right.
It's just a different kind of vibe, different ownership, but
Cool.
more of a modern flair on their cuisine.
Cool. So we'll talk more about the businesses as we get further into the discussion. But I think it's good to talk about some of the history of the neighborhood because it is a very rich history. And so West Portal is kind of the gateway to the West, and it got its name from the Twin Peaks Tunnel, which was they finished that in 1918, I believe. It's kind of cool if you look online and you can see the opening day, the crowds that were there, and all of that kind of stuff. The tunnel's different.
Big fanfare with the mayor and tons of people with all the flags and it was a big
and you
event.
were here, right?
Sure.
Who was the mayor?
21 in 1918.
Who was the mayor back then?
I think it was Sonny Jim Rolfe.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know.
Yeah, it was just like a classic name for a classic
I love it.
era.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
We saw a picture, but it was like 1950s. So that was a second version of the tunnel, right?
Yeah, they redid it,
Yeah.
and it was
70s,
more modernized.
70s.
The 70s.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we thought it was,
Right.
we were looking at the picture, we thought it was the 50s, but then when we looked it up, it was like the 70s.
It was kind of sad that they took down the old beautiful facade. That was the 1918 era, but they were trying to work with upgrading Muni and platforms, and but anyhow, they're not crazy about it, but we can talk about that further.
Okay. And I want to know more.
Right.
And the other thing that was interesting is, I guess, the whole construction project took like 3 years to finish, and would have been $102 million in today's dollars, but trying to get something like that done today, like for $102 million, no way.
Absolutely not.
And
No way.
to be done in 3 years,
Right.
never.
You get 2 public restrooms for $102 million.
That's right.
Right. I was looking at the Richmond subway, right? They're talking about the new Richmond subway project, Gary subway, $15 billion.
Oh, cool.
I think about 15 years or longer.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, so they are discussing that. It's not final, but it's $1 billion, not
Like
million.
crazy.
Yeah, everything costs a lot of money, and getting things built is, a little bit more difficult than it used to be.
A little more.
A little more red
A little
tape.
more.
Yeah, so basically the tunnel was being built, the neighborhoods in the area were being developed, and St. Francis Wood and Forest Hill were designed and built as like residential parks. Right.
Because I think there were 8 of them. The idea is to have those residential areas without commercial, just to keep the look and the feel. And then West Portal became the commercial area for St. Francis Wood and Forest Hill.
Yeah.
The Empire Theater, right now it's no longer a theater, but that was built by the designer or architect for Golden Gate Bridge. So that's interesting.
Is that so? Is that the same person who did the bridge?
Aaron Morrow?
I didn't know that actually. That's pretty good history.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, Irving Morrow was the consulting architect.
Yeah,
in 1925.
The original design it was one grand theater, and you can still see remnants of you can see where the shoe store is and the pizza place, but it was all this one grand theater. And in the early 70s, they compartmentalized it to 3.
Okay.
But it's always was a real big draw for the neighborhood to have the theater. And it's unfortunate it's not here anymore.
Yeah, we probably should talk about that a little bit.
I mean, do we think it's going to come back? Because I thought somebody was rehabilitating it to be a theater.
I was working with some neighborhood groups trying to get kind of boutique theater owners in the city to take that on, even if it's a short-term project. But the owners are not interested in doing anything. I think they're going to go into developing that space, but that still remains to be seen.
But it's rented to some Jewish community, right? For like 2 years. Is it
right? They have service there on their Saturdays, but I don't think they're doing it right now. But it was just, I think, temporary.
Temporary.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be 2 years, and I think it's over.
Okay. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens in that space.
Right. And along that line, I know, Paul, you work on this, George Donuts.
Yes. That was fun, actually.
That was interesting, right?
So the part of the, kind of the new renaissance of West Portal, what's going on right now, is, you're getting a younger demographic to invest in the long-term vibrancy of the block. And George's donut shop is actually a great example of that. And so we're excited. He was born and raised here. He grew up here.
Yeah.
And he did quite well as a tech guy. And he now he lives here close to his parents. And he thought, West Portal has always been my kind of second home, and I'd really like to make something special. So what he's doing is going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to bring a lot of people to the block.
It's very interesting just to hear that story, because he is we met him as a part of selling that unit. And he was telling everyone the story about how his grandfather always wanted to have a donut shop.
Right.
That's in honor of his grandfather.
Correct.
So when he bought it, he actually did not tell his grandfather. So it was supposed to be a surprise. And that's why it's called George's Donut, because George is the grandfather's name. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be coming this August, like any day now.
Oh, I think that might be a little tight, but I would imagine, the fall. Yeah, hopefully fall or winter. But that spot, they're going to have a famous pastry chef.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have, you can see how the donuts are being made I think they're going to have like a glass booth.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a one-off. There's not going to be anything like it.
It's supposed to be very high ceiling and a very open floor plan. And it's supposed to be a community gathering place. That was his intention for the donut shop.
Right. No, it's definitely something that I think everyone's going to appreciate. But before that, it was Kay's Florist, and it was a health food store. Yeah. But the health food store was around since the 60s. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't believe it was still in business, because some of the bottles on the racks looked like they were from the 60s still. But a lot of people went there. And then Kay's Florist, they actually own that property. They actually were there in the 1920s or 30s, their family. So that is the first time that property turned over since it was built by the original owners. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We can't wait to see it. It'll be so interesting.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. And I love donuts, especially if they're
fancy. They're supposed to be like really nice.
Too fancy. I like a good glaze and,
marble table. I heard it's a marble table, but, nice donuts. Oh,
just fancy enough.
Then a couple other business that's very interesting of buildings. I remember you sold that building on the corner, North American Title. Was that the
First American Title? Right.
First American Title. And that one is also going to be completely different after they're done, right?
Right. So again, that's also part of how West Portal has evolved in decades. That was a gas station. And then it was built in 1980 as, kind of a freestanding, commercial building. But that is going to be a local optometrist is going to move in to that location, and she's going to have her lab on site as well. Right. And she used to have, selling eyewear, doing, eye exams. Yeah. So there were a couple of places that they had their labs and their eye place. So now it's all going to be one-stop shopping. But that will be a nice fit, because she's from the block and she's going to have a great optometry eyeglass center.
She's next block down, right? She's really just moving one block.
Yes.
But also because the size of building, they are going to have more doctors or medical professions in the building. Mm-hmm. I think that's a plan, at least.
Yeah, that's like what I'm aware of.
Collective to become like a medical professional building. So those are the changes we see in West Portal. Every single block, right? Almost.
Absolutely.
All those.
Yes. And then you go back. I mean, Shaw's, right? The candy store. I mean, that's been around forever.
I think the 30s.
30s, yeah. And then they went through kind of like a Renaissance renovation not that long ago, a number of years ago, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, so they had a local, resident of the area. She heard it was for sale, and the people that were running it, I think they were just kind of tired of being in the small business world. But it was good. A local person. She has neighborhood kids running it. Mitchell's Ice Cream, which is, if not the best, is one of the top two.
And very San Francisco.
Yes, they used to have dairy farms in Diamond Heights, I believe. And so it's a great place. And you know what? It has that old time feel that you just can't get in any block in San Francisco.
Yeah. And then there's going to be a new wine bar. Actually, it's already here.
Oh,
It's
yeah. It's the people,
Yeah,
like
so this-
Chia.
right. The
Yeah.
Sardinian couple.
Have you
Yes.
tried?
I have not yet.
It's on my
Not yet,
list.
yeah.
It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, and their restaurant was so popular, and that ended up getting sold. Right, we talked about that in our other podcast
Right.
on Noe
Yeah.
Valley.
Uh-huh.
But then they traveled the world because they didn't have time. They're restaurateurs, right? It's very difficult
Right.
to do anything when you're in the restaurant business. But then they missed it so much, right? That's
Yeah.
what
Right,
ended
yes,
up
that's
happening.
correct,
So they
yeah.
were like, well, we don't want to do a full-on restaurant, and then so they started this
Right.
wine bar.
Yeah, it's a neighborhood spot for people who miss people. Not just them. I'm sure they miss people, but
Right.
it's for other people in the neighborhood who want to connect. So go along with the theme of donut shop and everything else. It's for people connecting, building the community.
Yeah,
right?
great meeting place. And I think their collection, it's all Italian wine. So they're definitely, it's not just, going to your, wine bar with, California and, US stuff. So it's really nice that they have all Italian, and they've got great, charcuterie, antipasto platters. And I think the neighbors are really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So
We got to
I
go.
think we should go there right now.
Well, they're not open right now, but we should go.
But yeah, and then that you have the Unwind, right?
Yeah.
Bar.
right. So, yeah, they were the family that owned Orexi, which was a Greek restaurant.
Mhm.
That's now part of Elena's. They took over both spots. But they wanted to stay on the block. They love West Portal, and they're doing quite well with Unwind as well.
Yeah, that's a great spot.
Joe's is another one, right?
Right.
Little
so
Joe's?
yeah,
Little Joe's.
original Little Joe's really was an anchor tenant when they came to the block. Everyone was so happy because their quality is so great. Their market,
Mhm.
kind of diversity. It's mostly Italian products, but it's just good quality, and you can't really get a bad meal. And it's just been wonderful. And now they have Elena's up the block, so you've got really the best of two worlds with the people who run the Joe's, the Dugan family.
So does the Dugan family run Elena's? No.
They do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
They do.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
they
know
do.
that.
Yeah, it's the same family.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
but you can't have two Joes on the
Right,
block. It's
right.
going to be a
gotta
little bit
You gotta have
overkill.
Elena's.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. I didn't
So
know
that's
it's
their
the same
family, right.
Okay. I still haven't made to Alina's because the line has been so long.
West Portal's too darn popular these days.
It is getting really,
Right.
really popular.
We've been talking about West Portal and how it's like this little village, and it's got all these roots of, families and people in the neighborhood who are keeping the businesses going and being local. The bookstore that you have over here across the street, what is actually the name of the bookstore?
West Portal
It's just a
Bookstore.
That's what I
West-
thought.
yeah,
West
right,
Portal
right,
Bookstore. I'm like, I
right.
don't remember having a different name. But they are such an awesome bookstore. I get gifts from there all the time for people. And they, I used to manage the brokerage here. And when I did, I was in the office daily. And one of the most fun things that would
Thank
happen.
you for your service, Natalie.
We all appreciate
Right.
it.
All right.
One of the things, it was a lot of fun. But one of the things every year that was really fun was the Where's Waldo? The thing that they would do every year. I think that one just finished, right? It was the month
I
of
saw kids running
July.
around the block last week.
Yeah, so they come to the businesses and they give you a little, Where's Waldo cardboard guy, and then you have to hide him somewhere in the office. And they do it with a whole bunch of different stores up and down the block. And I found it to be a really great way to kind of meet the neighbors and the kids and everybody in the community seemed to love that, what they do. And they have speakers there, people that come and talk about their books, authors, events, all kinds of stuff. So I think that place is really a gem for the neighborhood.
It's a huge asset, and when you lose a bookstore in a commercial area, there's a kind of a piece that is cut out of the quilt and the fabric of the community. And I know, like 24th Street, they just lost a really well-known bookstore.
But it's going to be taken over again.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. But it's bookstores, even though everyone's online. They do.
I think so.
So everything's online, and people are, getting their books from, Amazon and all that. But it really kind of solidifies the community. There's nothing like browsing a bookstore on a foggy Saturday.
Oh, absolutely. And the other good thing about the bookstore, it's smart on their part, I think, is that they have lots of different things other than books. They have, toys for kids. They have like interesting gift things, greeting cards. And I think that type of business really helps support the book business as well.
It's just interesting, like all the large ones don't seem to be doing very well. Like Barnes and Nobles, who used to be very popular, but you don't see them around anymore. Half price books or any large ones.
Yeah, because nobody wants to go to some other big box thing if they can just do Amazon and have it delivered at their house the next day, right?
But the small ones.
But small community-based bookstores still are
like Green Apple and things like that. So I always make an effort if I research a type of book that I'm trying to get, or a particular title, I will go to them first, and I even if I have to wait for the book to come in.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll definitely support and make sure that they get the first option if they can get me the book.
Yeah. And that's what we do in general for all the small mom and pop shops, right? Not just bookstores, but any restaurants, business that we can support. We try our best.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, so I think, there's a lot of restaurants and shops. Obviously, we can't talk about all of them. And if we don't mention them in the podcast, it doesn't mean that we don't think they're amazing. And we will list in our show notes more businesses than probably we talk about on the podcast, so that people can have reference to that. But Squat and Gobble, so Squat and Gobble and Bursa, while I was managing the office and in here on a daily basis, I think probably 4 days a week I would have lunch at Bursa. I'd have the falafel salad. I love that salad. And I still love that salad.
Bursa's the best.
I know.
I think so. And reasonable in this inflationary world we're in.
Yes. Their pita bread is so soft and nice
10.
And delicious. 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. And then Squat and Gobble, I love the crepes.
I like simple crepes. I don't need all that stuff jammed in there. I just give me a classic crepe.
Well, you can get a classic crepe too.
And a little coffee and a classic crepe. It's delicious.
What about you guys? Are there any other than what we've Trattoria di Vittorio? That's course. Spiazzo right next door.
Spiazzo we order from all the time, right? For our events.
Yes. So it's nice because I'm Italian heritage, and the two restaurants we have here, they're both Italian heritage, different cuisines, but they do a great job, and they have a following, and they're always packed, and they also fill a void in the neighborhood. So even we have the Little Joe's is more of the takeout, but we've got a lot of Italian cuisine on the block, which is amazing.
Quite a bit.
Right.
Pizza.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Any other favorites that released? The Submarine Center.
Well, so I worked. That was my first job at 15.
Really?
Yes. So I was in high school, 15 years old, and I think it was $5.50 an hour or something. By the time I retired from there, it was $6.50. But so it was a great job, and it basically Ralph, who still works there, he's a relative of the owners. He's still there, and so I used to work with him. So when I go in, it's basically like deja vu.
Yeah.
But the bread, they're kind of what they use for their sub sandwiches, it really hasn't changed a whole lot, which is kind of amazing. But that's their secret sauce also, is people don't like the change.
Sauce. Okay.
And
they have all the pictures of people.
Yeah, and there's a cult following for this place.
For sure. And they've been around forever, obviously.
Right.
But that seems like a very high stress job, because they get super busy, and you're like, you got to assemble those things.
We always had
quick.
a couple, Saturdays. I was there on weekends mostly, sometimes after school. But it was when it was packed, especially when, kids in the neighborhood are going to their soccer or baseball. There's huge lines out the door.
Franco's Latin table is really good if you haven't tried it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it used to be Frescas and got took over by Franco's, but just
they took it ceviche, right?
Yes, they do ceviche and all the famous dishes.
Yeah, the Peruvian cuisine is really good. Not a lot of people know about it because if we're used to our Mexican cuisine is so big in California, but Peruvian cuisine has so many interesting, flavors and spices and things that you just don't see on menus too often. So it's great.
Yeah, it's also lighter, I think. That's cheese.
Probably.
Well, the deep fried yuccas are not that light.
I wasn't talking about that.
Yumma yuccas.
Yes.
Yeah. Coffee shops. We have so many coffee shops here, and bakery. Noe Valley Bakery, right across the street from us. We all love it, right?
Yes. So I know the owners quite well. They were looking for some time, and they heard through a neighborhood group that West Portal needs a bakery, and a neighborhood group, actually people who live in the area, lobbied them to come to West Portal. I'm pretty sure that's how that happened. And I believe they're extremely happy. Things have worked out well for them, and they're just quality product. Yes. We're so fortunate to have just a top-notch bakery on the block.
And they give us an employee discount, which is wonderful. A neighborhood employee discount.
I didn't know that.
And I always go there when I do open houses, right? I always go there and I buy the mini cupcakes. And
those are a hit.
Mm-hmm. People love them.
They look like they look like the old ding dongs from the 70s.
Some of them do,
right?
Yeah.
Right?
The chocolate ones.
Yeah. Yeah, then we have Pete's, we have Starbucks. Right.
Pete's is like a gathering place for the neighborhood.
I was going to say, everyone goes to Pete's. Why is that?
Central. Oh, yeah. People love it. They've just been doing it.
You're either a Pete's person or a Starbucks person. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of how it goes.
Okay.
Right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
They taste different. I mean, to me, that's what
I'm kind of a ballast person.
Okay. I was going to say ballast is
a newer kid on the block.
Yes.
Further down.
Yeah. Not so new anymore, right? It has been a few years.
Not so, but new on the block compared to Starbucks and Pete's. And I really like, they have those mochi muffins that your sister Anna introduced me to.
Nice.
And I overdosed on them.
Yeah. So last time Anna and I were there was a yoga class in the backyard. Like people are actually taking yoga classes in the small backyard. They have nice.
Yeah, they do. Nice outdoor space.
It's very interesting. That place also has a lot of people working there, so it's very hip.
Very supported by a lot of the people in the community as well.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So that's a good place as well.
And I wanted to mention the Lemonade closed.
Yes.
But Proposition Chicken is going in, which is a really good chicken restaurant, and they're mostly fried chicken fingers, chicken sandwiches.
My son is fried chicken. My son is like fried chicken crazy. Every time I'm driving to the city, driving back, he's like, "Stop at Popeyes." Stop
right. So you're going to be in great shape.
Now I don't have to do that.
That's the rumor, but I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. So Lemonade wasn't a good fit. It was odd. The weather here is a cooler climate, and that was more for like a hot climate where people want food to cool them down, and it was just not a good match.
And Lemonade in Inner Sunset also closed down a number of years ago. So I think the business model just doesn't fit the city very well.
No, it didn't. Right? Did not, unfortunately.
Well, Sherwood.
You're talking about bars.
Right.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah, so
coffee.
So that was the Portals. Was a cop bar for many years, and a lot of the cops and firemen of the city, they would go after their shift, or if they got off at 3 a.m. or 6. So
not during
not during the shift. No. So there was kind of a demographic that kind of represented the blue collar side of the neighborhood. That was the classic bar. Okay. But now the new owners they made it this really cool lounge, and you've got your mixology bartenders, and it's different. It's not what the old guard was, but this is also part of the kind of evolution.
It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I mean, just really
it is beautiful. A cool looking bar for sure. But I do remember the first time I ever walked in there, right after they opened, I was like, "Am I in Westport? Where are you?"
Right? But no, you go to a lot of places in Westport, and you start feeling that way, right?
Yeah, it's interesting.
A lot of newer places,
for sure.
We talk about
Philosopher's Club.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Josh and Justin, twin brothers, they took it over from the Donahue family that owned it for decades and decades. So they're running the bar now. They're definitely, younger guys, probably in their 20s, maybe 30, I'm not quite sure. But that's so the Philosopher's Club has kind of a different feel to it with some, a lot of San Francisco State students and college kids, and it's a nice little change as well.
So different since they changed over, you mean?
A little bit. Okay. You'll see a lot more younger folks hanging out.
And then McCarthy's Irish pub.
Yeah, that's the classic Irish pub. Every neighborhood in San Francisco has a classic Irish pub.
Why is that? Just
because the Irish immigration has been so dominant for many, many years, and it's kind of it's like part of the fabric of a lot of the neighborhoods on the west side, especially where a big Irish community is.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about the Irish when we talked about Noe Valley too, because that definitely was.
But I didn't know it was part of a city. It was a whole city, so I guess every neighborhood. Yeah. So there are a lot of exercise places too. There's a new one called RHAX. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a personal training place, exercise place.
I have. It's a Pilates place too?
Yeah, the Pilates
Right.
series, and there's a Pure Bar where I used to
Right.
go. Very tough. You tried it too.
I
right?
did try it. Yeah, I won't
Yeah.
be doing that again.
Yeah, I used to shake, and it was like
Right.
it's rough,
Uh-huh.
but it's great. Then hardware store, which we go all the time, all of us.
Right. So
Making
that's the
keys.
oldest business still in existence on the block. So
Is it?
Pappenhausen is, I think, the 30s.
Mhm.
And it's gone through, different ownership throughout the years and years. But a real staple, they've had a tough time during COVID,
Mhm.
and that wasn't good. They had a fire, and then their COVID happened.
That's
So
right.
it's been challenging for small neighborhood hardware stores, but they're great guys, that are running it, and I've known them for many years. And everyone's just would does everything they can to support and help them. But again, it's tough in the small business world of hardware with every all the options you have.
I mean, the Glen Park hardware store, which had been around since, I don't know, 1930s, something like that.
Right.
They're closing down too, which is really sad.
Yes.
Because they've been continuously in business. And I think that's been happening all over the city, that
I
hardware
think so.
stores have been closing down. But I do think also, just like the bookstore and the hardware store, to have both of those things vibrantly in the neighborhood is huge.
Agreed.
And,
Yes.
I mean, if you need for me as a real estate agent, right, it's like I need to get some keys made. I can just run across the street. They're still doing that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I went last week.
That's
Suzuki.
a huge for a real estate office and a hardware store. There's a lot of good symbiotic
And
relations.
they have a really good selection of different things, like a wide variety. So they're so great to have there. So please support them if you're in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Don't go to Home Depot if you can avoid it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Clothing stores. There are a bunch of them.
Sirens,
one. The Goodwill.
Goodwill, best in the city.
The super Goodwill, right?
Right,
It's
right,
like a regular
right.
one. Designer Goodwill, we would say.
Yes.
Fancy pants
Right.
Goodwill.
I mean, I don't know about Sirens because it's all women's clothing, but I know that that's been a huge factor for people in the neighborhood that actually don't want to go downtown or go to the mall.
Really?
I love it. I've bought a bunch of things there. I know a lot of people from our office buy clothes at Sirens.
It's a great boutique.
You should go check it out.
And like you said, the Goodwill, I do think they get a lot of designer clothes. There's people that come from all over the city to go to this Goodwill.
Right.
Yeah.
This Goodwill.
Yeah, this one is very famous.
Yeah.
Nail salons. And we were just laughing about it because there seem to be so many nail salons to count.
Next question.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
I'm not going to list them all. There's a ton of them, and you can get your nails done.
But
at any time,
they are
any place.
packed a lot of the times, which is wow. The competition is not hurting them. Everyone does well.
Yeah, that's the interesting part.
The nails keep growing. They keep.
Yeah.
Apparently, people go there
Right.
just de-stressor. That's what I heard. Anyway, any other restaurants and businesses we missed? We want to talk about, Paul?
Let's see. I would think that you kind of got this is a good overview. I mean, we have the Four Seasons Market that opened up. That used to be Ambassador Toys. I think they opened up kind of a meat section. I don't know if that's still open or not, but we need to have small grocery stores, and hopefully they're only open for a year, but hopefully they're doing well. I know that other gourmet grocery stores are trying to come into the block, for a fact. I've spoken to people, but again, it's a little challenging. Westport, you have to have a place for the trucks and this, that, you can't just go to any spot. Other than that, I think, if we have too many banks on the block.
That is
a lot of banks.
In the 1970s, I don't mean to digress to another subject, but in the 70s, a lot of nice, good looking, properties were torn down, and they put these huge, one tenant, banks in, like Chase and the one Wells Fargo and the old First Republic. That's a problem for West Portal to have more density and to have more opportunity for merchants to open up their shops.
Okay, but Old Republic, I mean,
that's shut down now. First Republic,
Old Republic.
Right. So that's just sitting there with the newspaper in the windows. And that's a huge opportunity.
Right.
But again, the banks took over a lot of prime merchant space, and what San Franciscans want now. They want more density, and with their, even if you were to put a couple of, units above so people can live and you have people shop.
Yeah.
But those banks did take a little mojo away back in the 70s.
Okay, but there's opportunity, right? Because all of them are probably downsizing, hopefully. And
You would think, yeah.
they should.
Right.
If they haven't, they definitely should.
I just want to mention real quickly two other things. The Burrito Loco, that's a great place to just get a quick burrito. It's
True, yeah.
quick, inexpensive. They're super friendly there.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, there was one.
The Bull said get a bison burger.
Oh yes, bison burger.
Pretty good. Yes,
that's old school too, for sure. And then there was one other thing that now, of course, I can't remember.
I was going to say Easy Breezy.
Oh, Easy Breezy. That's what I was going to say.
I'm sorry, because I go there a lot.
My daughter worked there for a little bit. Easy Breezy.
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah, and the kids after school, they pour in there, and I pour in there during the day.
Yeah. It's a happening place, for sure.
Right.
We got more people there.
And you have toast also. That's kind of like our diner.
That's right. Toast
so it's always good to have.
Caliber burgers.
Caliber burgers, top quality, delicious.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's
lots
and
of
if we
restaurants.
didn't mention it, doesn't mean we don't like it. There's so many.
Yeah, there's so many more.
Okay.
And the thing about West Portal is the commercial area is quite long. It's 3-4 blocks versus Glen Park.
Right.
In comparison, Glen Park is just a couple blocks. So
Yeah.
West Portal is great for that. We have not mentioned one thing about West Portal is it's a hub for transportation. I mean, that's
why it was built, actually.
Yeah.
Right, major advantage of living here, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we have the L, the M, the K, and it's perfect for a small city like San Francisco.
Yeah,
it has the major connectors. It's great.
Yeah, it's basically like you could be living in the quote unquote suburbs out here, and you get on the train, and in 10-15 minutes you're downtown.
15 minutes, I think that's how long it takes. Yeah, and it's just so convenient because you got so many different lines to pick from, so you don't have to wait very long.
Right, and then all the bus lines as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think Glen Park and West Portal are two main hubs in the neighborhoods, right? In the southernmost neighborhood. Much better than Richmond in comparison.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Anything special about living in West Portal that...
your favorite thing?
Yeah.
I would say that there's a small town community within a city.
Right.
And you do have really, it feels like it's its own little separate village. Right. They used to call it West Portal Village, like that was its kind of name back in the old days. So there's a village vibe to it and kind of a lifestyle, but it's you've got the dry cleaner, you got ice cream, you can pick up something for dinner.
Yeah.
It's not it's not one of these fancier high end shopping neighborhoods in San Francisco. Right. And I don't think it ever will be. I think what we have is we have kind of a real, just classic neighborhood in the city that's not trying to be something that it's not.
Correct.
And even if we have some big restaurants and, businesses come in, the kind of the community, they're very down to earth. And that's part of its kind of special core is the people that live in and around the area.
Absolutely. And so many people do know each other around here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you see everybody talking, and then they walk in here. Oh, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And over at the Pete's, and it's definitely.
I don't think there's anything like West Portal in the city with our layout and what we have because 24th Street is different than Chestnut, different than Union, different than Mission, and then West Portal's different than all of them.
It's very special.
Yeah. And that's one of the beautiful things about San Francisco is that we have so many of these different unique neighborhoods for sure.
So along that, I want to talk about a couple of events we have. We have a West Portal Wine Walks, which happens twice a year, once in spring, once in fall, and we sponsor that, right?
Yes. And that's been a lot of fun. It's packed, great event getting people out. And you've always been kind enough to work the bar.
Pouring the wine.
Yes.
That part. It's always a fun event. And then when we have West Portal Halloween, which is another big event, we give out candies. As
merchants,
we participate in a lot of
many
events.
bags of candy.
Yeah, and actually, it's taken over a lot of the younger kids that the parents don't want them out too late. They'll actually go to West Portal now, and they will do their trick or treating with the businesses. It's a lot of fun, and it's been a new kind of trend in the last couple of years.
Yeah, West Portal has becoming the biggest Halloween spot, I think, in the city.
Huge,
right?
Bigger than Belvedere.
Oh, I don't know. I would imagine.
Don't know about
probably.
that.
Belvedere and Coal Valley. Oh my goodness.
Real? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Belvedere Street. Yeah, it gets crazy, but it gets
Right.
crazy, like really crazy.
Well-
Here it's
Really?
like a little bit younger. I think.
Yes.
I mean, at night it gets a little.
Well,
more
do you know
crazy.
that we're our good friend John, the appraiser,
Yes,
and his
John
block,
the appraiser.
they have to invest $500 in
Yeah.
candy
that's right.
Each house.
Oh, totally.
each house.
Yeah, well, I can totally see that.
500.
I mean, it's a disclosure
Right.
in the package
Right.
when you're on that part of Wawona, right?
And with
The
inflation, it's going to be
packets.
1,000 this summer.
Because they have a block party
Right.
right there.
But it's
Right,
so much
right?
fun. It's worth
Oh
it.
yeah.
It's awesome. It's the best place. It's a good time for people to get to know West Portal or what it's like to live here. Lots of families.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which leads to our next topic, schools. There are lots of schools close by. West Portal Elementary is
Mhm.
right uphill. We have West Portal Lutheran. We have St. Brendan.
Yes.
Obviously,
So
you know that.
yeah, so West Portal, the public school is really well known. If you can, with the public school system, get your kids into West Portal, it's a real
It's a great campus.
great opportunity. Yeah. So West Portal School has a lot going on. We hear great things.
Yeah.
I went to St. Brendan, and my children went there as well, just because that's some of our familiarity with the parish, and we've known
It's
a lot of
K
people.
through 8.
Yeah, K-8, and that's also academically, it's been a great school for the neighborhood. And what other Hoover we have? Herbert Hoover.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of more Parkside.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, from
it's
here you
close
would
by.
go there for sure.
Yeah.
Close by.
So we still have a
Or you
lot
have
of the
that-
parochial,
Since
schools,
Cecilia.
and
And
those have always,
Waldorf.
yeah. And then you have the Waldorf on West Portal. It's a well-known high school, private high school. But
Pricey.
yeah, a lot of the schools in the neighborhood. Again, in the old days, you could actually say, "I'm going to go to this public school," but that's changed for over 50 years. But we do have good options. If it's expensive to do the private route, but there are some really good options.
So what I read is, we talk about Noe Valley being the stroller valley. So only 17% of households in Noe Valley have kids, but in the West Portal, 30%.
Really?
So it's much higher.
Right.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that? I mean, I believe you, but I'm just curious.
SF standard, I
Right,
think.
right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
definitely
I think
interesting.
if just because we're more conducive to, like, the homes have the yards and the kind of the residential zoning. It's not, you don't have 20 units next to you. It's more of a neighborhoody stuff.
And in Noe Valley, you have a lot of, I think, younger tech kind of component, and so those people, someone just don't.
And on that, but on that noting, a lot of the buyers that move here, they're coming from, let's say, Noe,
Yes.
because it gets a little bit expensive and tight, and then you're able to get a detached home, and you have some breathing space that's not very typical in a big city.
That's true. A lot of buyers came from Noe. They upgrade to West Portal. Noe is the first house, and West Portal is second.
The forever home.
Forever.
And you can always go down to Noe in 10 minutes if you wanted to.
That's
Again,
right.
it's right around the corner.
Right.
Anything else about West Portal we want to talk about? Anything we missed?
I mean, I'm sure we missed lots of things, but we don't have all night to talk about West Portal. But I think, so
sum it up, huh?
Sum it up.
So it's a great transportation hub. It's very convenient to go to downtown and easy access to 280. So if you want to go to South Bay, that's also super easy. Lots of restaurants and stores. Walk score is, almost 90, 89. So pretty high for a neighborhood. Strong community feel. This is probably the most special thing of West Portal. This is like one big family of West Portal. It's close to Stonestown, Stern Grove, Zoo, Beach, everything you want is very close by. Anything else?
I think it's the people, the merchants, just the neighborhood is special, and if anyone moves here, they'll get it. And again, there's a lot of neighborhoods in San Francisco to choose from, but if you're looking for something that's a little bit more down to earth with a kind of an older feel, more traditional feel, but also making great progress with new businesses.
Yeah.
This is a nice place to plant your flag.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot like Barba Gelata, Barbco Group, where we
Right.
have our roots and all of our history, but still forward thinking and doing innovative, interesting things. I think that's a very good representation
correlation. Yeah.
of the neighborhood. The only thing is that you have to be okay with the fog.
Yes, right.
Because the fog is here and, we can't run from it. We have to embrace it.
It does get
It's
gloomy.
good for your skin.
It is good for your skin.
Yeah, I say too.
So you look younger if you live in West Portal. Why not buy? Buy here, you'll look younger.
A dewy complexion.
Yes.
Free facial every day.
Right,
Like
right.
some days in August. Anyway, so that might be the only downside. So you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
Other than that, welcome to West Portal.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And I hope that you learned something about West Portal. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Paul.